Hello, all you coin aficionados out there, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. Today we have for you a Eisenhower dollar from 1971. And this is a huge dollar. It weighs 22.68 grams. And let's just compare it to a Roosevelt dime. There's a little Roosevelt dime there. It weighs 2.268 grams, or exactly 1/10 of a Eisenhower dollar, and which makes sense. There's 10 of these dimes in $1, so it's 1/10 of a dollar in weight and in value. And then if we look at the Kennedy half, which is about half the size, it turns out that the Kennedy half weighs 11.34 grams, so it is 1/2 the weight of a Eisenhower dollar. Unfortunately, if we look at the US nickel, we start to get a little off kilter because the US nickel weighs 5 grams, and it is, so essentially we don't want that to be 20 times, we don't want 20 times that to be a dollar. If the Eisenhower dollar was 20 times the weight of the US nickel, it would weigh 100 grams because the US nickel weighs 5 grams, but the US nickel's always been a little bit of an outlier. It turns out that the US quarter brings us back into the fold. So if we look at the quarter versus the dollar, the US quarter is 5.67 grams. So it's very close to 1/4 of the weight of a Eisenhower dollar. So in the old days, that's how you would do it with silver, right? You would say that the coin in silver was worth the percentage in weight of the larger coin. And so you went by weight only. In fact, you used to be able to just weigh coins and know how much you had in value there. And you can still do that with the US dollar and half and dime from this era. If you weigh all of these coins together, you'll know what your value is. So in other words, for every 22.68 grams in weight of these coins, you'll have a dollar, which is kind of a cool idea. But don't throw in your nickels when you do that, because your weight will not give you an actual value if you do it that way. So it's kind of a plain looking dollar on the front. It says Liberty on the top, 1971 on the bottom, and God We Trust under Ike's chin. And this is President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And it's a pretty interesting carving or engraving. It's Frank Gasparo, who did the front and the back. And you can kind of see the hair on the back of his head, slightly balding. The great, or maybe the greatest general and the supreme commander of the Allied forces in World War II before he became president. It's a copper nickel-clad copper coin. And if we turn it over in the back, we see this. This is probably Frank Gasparo's finest work, and that is the United States of America, E Pluribus Unum. There's a little map of the Earth here, a little Earth over the eagle's shoulder. And what you're doing here is you're looking at the eagle landing on the moon with an olive branch, or the sign for peace. If we count, we see there are 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stars, which we kind of know what that means, right? The original 13 colonies of the United States of America, so there's 1 star for each. And if we go way up and look at that little globe there, we see kind of an outsized version of the United States down here with the Florida Keys and a few little islands here. If you're collecting these Eisenhower dollars, go for the 72, which has a it has some differences in it. The islands, some of them have 2 or 3 islands, and one of the 72 versions has an island to the left, to our left of the Florida Peninsula, and it's way over in here, almost in the Gulf of Mexico. It has an island which is supposed to be, I don't know whether it's supposed to be the Bahamas or the Keys, or what it's supposed to be, but they moved the islands around in the 72 version. Okay, so that's what we have for you today. There are a couple things I ought to go over before we let you go, and that is they made a lot of these coins. And that, by a lot, I mean this is a Philadelphia mint, and there's no P on it because Philadelphia hadn't started putting the P on in 1971. So it's a Philadelphia mint. They made 48 million of these. At the Denver Mint, they made 68.5 million of these. So there's plenty of these coins out there in terms of the people have, but they're hard to find. So they're probably worth a couple dollars minimum each. This coin in very fine condition is worth $3.50, $3 to $3.50. So that's because collectors keep them, and I keep them, and you keep them. If you find an Eisenhower dollar, you probably don't use it to buy anything. You probably keep it. And so because so many people keep them, even though there's a lot of them in circulation, well, we call it in circulation, people aren't circulating them. That's the problem. And so that drives the price of these up a little bit. All right, that's all we have today from the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you have in the comments section.